Hello, this is Professor Dr. Satish Polchettiwar from MIT World Peace University School of Pharmacy, Pune, India. Today's topic for discussion is problem-based learning in pharmacy. Capture your student attention, designing cognitive scaffold. This is the topic of today's discussion. You all of you know why I have taken this topic, because you know the today's generation student strength in the class is very low. Lack of class attendance is another problem among the university student has become problematic and emerging challenge to all in front of all the teachers and university professor as well as the institution of higher education and management. Studies show that absenteeism can be unproductive and tiresome, as well as it will waste we can say it waste education resources, time, human potentials. Okay, reason could be not being in the why students are not attending the college because not being in the mood, they find the class boring. It could be the because of their personal issue, lecture issues, many more. There are so many issues are there. Okay, so today I'm taking this problem based learning in pharmacy. So in order to make a student attentive and skillful, okay, and so as to attend the classes, and they feel that the classes that you are going to conduct in the colleges, that is always been we can say memorable and learnful. Okay, they can learn many things from that. Okay, they should feel like that. So what is problem-based learning? So problem-based learning is a student-centered approach in which students learn about a particular subject by working in group individuals to solve open-ended problems. Means this is the problem-based learning is nothing but a student-centric center pedagogy in which students learn about the subject through a experience of solving open-ended problem. Which is found in the trigger material. Trigger material could be lab data, photograph. You can give with the article. You can give them the some videos, real simulation model. Okay, within a group that may be formal or informal and role after often afterwards. These teaching strategies lead the student learn to encourage their develop critical thinking, problem solving skill that they can carry for their life. Because you all of you know all the education system all involve either problem solving or preparation for problem solving. This is very important. Teachers should teach by appealing all the student natural instinct to instigate and investigate and create this thing. This is very important because this system was introduced by that McMaster University, first used this PBL technique in mid 1960, and this has caused a small revolution in medical community. The history near about 40 years ago, 60 years ago, you can say. So problem-based learning, nothing but if you just look at the traditional learning and problem-based learning, traditional learning, what we are doing, told what we need to know, then memorize it, and problem assigned to illustrate how to use it. And what is PBL method? In PBL method, we assign the problem. We ask them to identify the issue, what we need to know for that, and learn, apply to solve the problem. Okay, this is the problem-based learning. We ask the student to identify the issue. You search. We have to ask them to search the solutions and learn it, apply it for the problem. This is called as PBL-based learning. Sometimes it is called as project-based learning. Okay, for self-assessment and instructional strategy. So what is the goal behind this problem-based learning? PBL 21st century success skill, very important. We need to generate, we need to develop the soft skill in the among the students, among this community, such as critical thinking, problem solving, communication, collaboration, and creative and innovation. So all education involve either problem solving or preparation for problem solving. You have to always, we can say, we have to always teach them to applying a student natural instinct to investigate and create. So what are the elements of problem solving? First, you have to identify, you have to give the problem to identify the problems. Okay, then they need to identify the problems. Yeah, teacher can give, yeah, your expert can give the problem to them. Then student has to develop the plan. They make a collaboration and they start working on that particular we can say task. They can distribute the task to among all the students. Then they have to start the implementation of that plan. Then they come up with the evaluation. For the evaluation can be done by teacher or any experts in the college. That is how does it work. Okay, so why people in pharmacy, why we need to have, just now we are talk about the class absenteeism, a lack of class attendance. So this technique would be the good technique to generate high level of critical thinking and analysis. We can build a teamwork to them. We can building a team, how we can work in team. That knowledge and that soft skill, that grooming, we can make it through this particular channel. We can say PBL techniques. It helps to become more creative and develop soft skill that is needed. Then it will develop the different relationship with ideas. It act as a brainstorming session. Student can think and they may get some solution and solve the real problem. Self-assessment and augmented self-learning, they can learn about how to solve the issues personally. Then hand-on learning experience they will get. They will get more fun and enjoy, so that class absenteeism would be very less. We can minimize that. Provide appropriate care for future problem which they are carrying with them. Making progress in learning basic skill. Retention of knowledge, they can retain the knowledge throughout their life they carry with them. Okay. Then self-motivated attitude they can develop, that is very important. Afford lifelong learning. Then in-depth learning and constructive approach, they can be a constructive rather than destructive minds. Okay, so constructive mind is very important. We always have think about the constructive, how we can construct, how we can connect the dot each other so as to bring us new thing. Enrich the teacher student relationship, it is very important. We have to create a good bonding with the teacher and students. So this will create this bonding, and definitely students will give you a good feedback. So this is that's why we use PBL in pharmacy. Okay, there is a need of PBL in pharmacy. So what is the key characteristic? Just now we have spoken: problem based, problem solving, student center, self directed learning, and reflection. So this should be always problem solving statement. There should be student centered activities. For that, faculty act as the facilitators. Instruction must be avoid making students dependent on them, what they should learn and know. It could be a self-directed learning. It develop the research skill. Student need to learn how to get information when it is needed and will be current as this essential skill to for professional performance. This should take place of following the completion of problem work, preferably through group discussion, and meant to enhance transfer of learning to the new problem. These are the key characteristic of PBL, that is called as a change in constant and everywhere modern society is characterized by rapidly expanding base of knowledge, expertise such that many students cannot be expected to be cognizant of all the knowledge in their chosen area of learning. That is very important. You have to always give some option. You have to give some kind of optional subject where student can select the subject according to their choice and their interest. So this is very important, because every students have their own interest. So we have to just identify their skill, their particular interest, and according to that interest and their skill, you can assign a particular project, a particular problem to them, so that they can work on the problem and they can implement it, and we can evaluate their problems. Okay. So this is very important. Today generation must ready for future, not for industry. You have to make them a future ready, means after 10 years down the line, what will happen, you don't know. You should make them 10 years down the line, this is going to be happen. So you always make them a future ready rather than industry ready. That is very important. This is the challenge of preparing pharmacy graduate for a fast changing work environment. Call for development of thinker program, we can say. So what is the strategy more in PBL than lecture? If you see talk about the PBL techniques, it uses library resources. It will make the constructive classroom. It make them participate in the class, preparing for class session. They use references. They identify problem, explore the causes, research, analyze, develop solution, reorient them. There are a lot of we can say strategies are being used in PBL rather than this lecture. Like in lecture, what we are doing, only using material from class session, using recommend textbook. You are taking your notes in the classroom, regular review of the classroom, writing review notes, own words. They are the things we are doing in the class. So rather than this, if you do this thing, so student will make interest in your class and student will attend your class, and the class attendance would be increased. That we are expecting from the students and this particular PBL. So let's start with the one problem based learning PBL examples. Okay, let us start with one problem based learning example. Okay, this is a recent problem that we are facing because of this corona outbreak. Closing, all of you know how. So problem is that how to engage the student in front of teacher. This problem is in front of all the teacher, how to engage our students from the recovery of academic loss and teaching during the coronavirus closure. So the problem is that how to engage the student during coronavirus infection outbreak, long vacation, because students are going for a long vacation, even teachers are also vacation. So how to engage the student? So is there any tools? What do we know about online learning? How can use these online learning tools to make them engage? What do we expect to learn? How will you go for that? You have to think about that. This is the problem. So you have to make a plan. Teacher has to make a plan. So how we can deliver the content to the students? So that content should reach properly to the student. So we have the virtual delivery. They can make a plan. You can select the particular tools. Available online tools are there. You can search that tools. Recorded videos are there. How we can record this videos by using certain tools. You have to find out the tools. This plan you have to make. provide extra technical supports. That things should be also covered in your plan. Skill learning during the online learning period will be equally beneficial in the regular classroom. You have to think about that, how we can develop this strategy plan for these particular problems. Then you have to implement that plan. If you make a plan, if you have made this properly, then you have to implement it properly. You have to establish daily schedules, then provide robust learning, design independent learning, choose the right tools, stick with them. You have to make a, you have to start, you have to apply that tools. Whatever tool you have been selected from that plan, that tool you have to implement properly. You have to use that. Maybe it could be in the webinar form, it could be a virtual classroom, maybe Google Classroom we can use. We can use a Zoom app also. There are so many applications are there where we can connect with your students and you can deliver your content, deliver your knowledge, okay, so as to reach properly to the students. Then you can evaluate this, whether your tooling you're working properly or not. You can collect the feedback from all the students, parents, whether your delivery of contents and that particular things reaching to the students or not, whether students are getting the knowledge or not properly, whether their queries have been solved or not. You can analyze and you can collect the response from them. You can assess them, make a final model then. So this is, we can say, how we can use PBL, problem based learning, for this current issue, a current problem. This is for teachers. Now for students, let's start with one project based learning. Okay, so what is project based learning? This is nothing but you have to think about the something like it's a more concrete, real environments, driving questions, find out the solution, make it available for this. Okay, this is called as project based learning. You have to give some project to the students, at your scholars, research scholars and all. Okay, how we can use PBL in this project selection. Okay, how project based learning work. First you have to identify problem. See, this PBL work in four vertical. One is problem. You have to identify the problem, then you have to make a plan, develop it, then you have to implement it and evaluate it. This is called as PBL model. So first problem is that the one problem is there to target the mesalazine drug in colon for management of inflammatory bowel disease, that is IBD. This is particular drugs. Now you have to target in colon for the particular treatment. This is the problem. Okay, this task you are receiving from your teachers, yeah, your guide. Then you have to think about this, whether you are going to apply through topically, yeah, orally. There are different things are there. Okay, so which particular things you are going to select. So what do we know about the colon drug delivery? First you have to apply your knowledge. Okay, you have got some knowledge during your theory, so you have to apply this knowledge. Okay, then you have to think about selection of dosage form. Which dosage form I should select for this, whether I go for tablet, capsule or suspension. Then selection of polymer excipients. Which excipient, which polymer I should use for making a tablet of colon drug delivery system. Okay, you should know about colon drug delivery, because you have to bypass this stomach. Then you have to reach to this colon. Your drug should reach to this colon. So you have to think about that. Your drug should not degrade in your this particular things. You have to think your drug should bypass at that pH, that is called a stomach pH. Your knowledge would be helpful designing these things. Then you start about procurement of materials. Think about that, how we can procure the material. For that you can send a letter to different company, you can collect it from different resources, different sources. Think about that. Search the availability about the resources also. How can I start the work, whether that particular equipment available in my lab or not. You have to find out that, whether the if you want to search the material, yeah, literature survey you have to do that. For that you can take the help of your library, the other resources. So you start thinking, when you get a problem, you start thinking about that, how we can get a solution for that. Okay, because problem is there, then you can start thinking. Okay, your mind will activate, you can think critically and you can just start to develop this plan. Then after making the plan, proper things, your plan is ready, then you can implement that plan. The actual work is start. Okay, actual work you can do formulation, optimization, evaluation. You can do the stability study. You can write the manuscript for publication. So this is the things that you have to implement it. Okay, then you can evaluate it, response, assessment, presentation you can make. This is the final products. See, that you can give it to for evaluation to your experts. Your guide will evaluate you, maybe external will come and evaluate you whether you are done project properly or not. This is called as a project based learning. Okay, you have one project, you start developing that plan, making the plan, then you implement it and you are evaluated that properly. Okay, this is called as problem based learning. Okay, how does PBL works? You just now we have discussed about that. If you want to target the drug to colon, then you have to think about all these aspects. Which drug, which type, which method, which polymer, which size and shape you have to deliver, voting method, machineries, tablet, everything you have to think. Okay, you have to make means you have to become a critical thinker. Okay.